Good morning, Story Trading. VIP's got a lot to cover today, and I got to be done at 9:15 a.m. sharp, so we got 15 minutes to go through this. So, all right, let's just talk about CPI for just 1 second. CPI is tomorrow morning, and if you look at QQQ and SPY, look, last week I was saying, hey, I was thinking we could reach the 200 DMA, and that would coincide with CPI, and that would be the sell-off. Now, it didn't happen. We're stuck in between these key moving averages. So at this point, I'm looking at CPI as a decision maker. Does the market go down and test these lower moving averages here? Or is it going to be a positive surprise on CPI, and then we can test the 200 DMA? So we're at indecision place. The market is at indecision. But I'm not going to back down on what I've been saying for a few months, that this is still an environment that's ripe for stock picking. We've seen that evidence. We've seen the money rotations. We've seen many of our own stocks at 52-week highs that have strong fundamentals. So this is not deterring me. The worry that CPI is going to be bad and we head back down is not really dissuading me from investing in good companies right now, but I will take some off the table. I already started taking some off the table starting late last week. Yesterday, I took a little more off the table, and today I'm going to take more off the table just to have cash in case there's going to be opportunities that present themselves with the market correcting if that happens. And hey, if it's an awesome CPI print that's lower than expectations and we take off, that's fine. I can buy back higher, but I do want to be in a little bit of cash to manage that risk going into that event. And especially because I'm a big believer in stacked catalysts, right? Stack catalysts help to build sentiment in a particular direction and can cause the next catalyst to break and cause a stronger move. And what I mean by that is look at NVIDIA and Micron, right? NVIDIA missed. Micron warned this morning. Okay. So now people tend to believe more when you have multiple bad news on top of each other, or act more. They'll act on it more, right? So, like, listen, if NVIDIA beat and Micron didn't warn, then a bad CPI tomorrow wouldn't necessarily be as bad. We might rally on a higher inflation, right? Say, hey, the economy's strong, everyone's making money, employment was great last Friday, so we might rally on any CPI print tomorrow. But because we're getting these earnings misses and earnings warnings, if CPI comes in hot, then people are going to be, wow, like, companies are not making money, and the interest rate and the Fed's going to be aggressive on interest rates because CPI is hot. Like, that's going to be a problem. So definitely much more cautious now because of Micron and NVIDIA than I was earlier in the week. So I'll be a little more aggressive raising cash going into the CPI event tomorrow. So that's that on the major indices. Now let's get to the individual stocks. We have lots of news. SIGA, I was looking at this morning. I was like, yeah, I might be interested in picking up SIGA. I sold half my shares Friday. I may be interested in picking that back up if we get to $20 psychological support this morning. I think I even posted that in the room. And then shortly after, boom, they get a contract worth $26 million. It's still negative for the day, up at 2180. But, here's one where stocks like SIGA, stocks related to war and pandemics and things like that, tend to do better when the market's down, right? So sometimes you can think of it as a hedge. So, with the market down today ahead of CPI and then them getting this contract, this could actually end up green today, or at least it could be a situation closely. I may want to add some shares. Oxy's back. Warren Buffett's back, buying another 7 million shares or so. He now owns 20% of Occidental Petroleum. Unbelievable. I don't have a position now, but I had a lot of fun for about a month selling. I had a position. I sold calls every single week. Did I ever sell puts on it? I don't know, but I don't remember if I sold puts. But the premiums are super high on this thing, especially today with Buffett back in, and they have not back in, but Buffett back to buying more, and they have weekly options on this. So this is something interesting. Maybe I'll pick it up again. You can see if 5 days ago it was 64.65, and now I can get in at a $3-4 discount, knowing that Buffett even increases stake more. So maybe I'll take a position on Oxy today and sell covered calls and get back to that weekly covered call selling thing. This just, to me, doesn't look like a stock that's going to explode above $65 to $70. It looks like it's trading in a range. You can see that since early March, and that's why I was attracted to sell uncovered calls on this, which have very high premium. So something I might be looking to do again. Clearfield, I told my trade plan. Let's see if I can stick with it. They're entering the S&P small cap index tomorrow. That's often a sell then use event. Today might be the last day of buying pressure due to some indices and funds that have to I shouldn't say indices, due to some funds that have to buy Clearfield ahead of that entry. So I don't know. The market's down today. Are we going to get, am I being greedy, trying to get one last big push before the close today? That was my plan, to sell today towards the end of the day, at least a portion of my core shares. So I'll be looking at that, and that'll be a good opportunity to raise cash ahead of CPI. And listen, if I didn't hit the top, if I didn't hit 114 yesterday, that's fine. Look at this. Look where we came in. And if I'm able to sell it even at like $100 today, I'm way ahead in terms of cash that I can then deploy into the market if the market goes down after CPI tomorrow. Next, man, air was crazy last night. I don't know what's going on. We in the trading room, I put out like 3 possibilities of why the stock was surging last night, and I decided to sell 20% of my position at 1750. Man, I just got it in the nick of time there. It hit 18. Like a second after it was like 100 shares at 18. I got in, man. It was cool. But anyway, it was either like a material leak of news or like some sort of Discord room pumping it, and whatever. Even if it's like good news, when you gap up that much, very often you're going to fill the gap the next morning. And I was like, in either case, even with good news, I can buy it back lower than 1750. We're already down $2, but I'm not buying it back yet. I'm being a little cautious here, holding on to my cash. I'll tell you why. First of all, everything I just talked about with the market and the risk, and also the NVIDIA and Micron, KIDWAY on semiconductor stocks. But look at this closed green candle. You see that right there? Let me tell you something about this closed green candle. This is how I made a ton of money on air last year. Okay, I don't know if we can see it. Let's try to zoom in to this big move. Now, you know, at StoryTrading, I'm looking not just at fundamentals. I care about market value, not only fundamental value, right? The market value to me is the only value that counts. And market value is impacted by sentiment, catalysts, technicals. I consider it all. And that's why I was riding air up past $16 and all the way to $25 plus, because all the tailwinds were there. The market was hot. The semi industry was hot. Tesla was hot. The technicals kept riding above the 20 DMA. Look at that. There's no reason to sell the stock if you're riding above the 20 DMA. And they kept on bringing new contracts. There was no reason to sell it. Then we had something here. I forgot what the catalyst was. The weekend before this closed green candle, you can see all these are open green, open green, open green, right? And the weekend before that closed green candle, this was already on my radar that, oh, I may want to start taking some off the table. And it was something with Tesla. I forgot. Tesla went down for some reason. I don't know if Elon Musk sold some shares or something, but I'm like, all right, the sentiment ride is dying down. And then that same day, I believe it was that same day. Was it a Monday or Tuesday? I don't remember now, but it was that week, I guess, that we got a closed green candle. Guess what? From 250 all the way to 25, I sold it to open the next morning because of that green candle. Opened at 25.87. That was like textbook. That was brilliant. I aspire to reproduce that on every one of my trades, right? So anyway, look at how many open green candles, and then we got another green candle. So green candle on top of market conditions, CPI tomorrow. I mean, closed green candle on top of market conditions, CPI, Micron, NVIDIA. And I'm not necessarily anxious to jump back in, even though I $2 discount, but who knows? Maybe I can get more. Maybe this is a peak. Maybe this is going to pull back a few dollars. Let's just look at the technicals here. The 200 DMA down at $13 or so. I'm going to say I'm not anxious to jump in. We'll see. We'll see what happens here with air. All right. Now, a few other things. Last night, we had an event. 3 great speakers, and we covered BCRX, SMSI, and CVV. Now, I can't reveal all the details. That's for our VIP members, all right? The recording is available in the VIP announcements room. It was an excellent presentation. Kudos all around from everyone. Zach did a great job on BCRX, earnings recap, and gave us his long-term thesis on it and why he thinks it could be undervalued. SMSI Brian gave us a great earnings update, although that part is not recorded. If you didn't show up live, you're going to miss it. I'm sorry. SMSI earnings are Thursday after the close, and we got some great information, great context, great insights into what to expect, what can move the stock positively Thursday after the close, what could maybe impact it negatively. We got our fingers on the pulse of SMSI, so I'm looking forward to that earnings call Thursday. I think we're going to know how to act going into it and out of it based on what's said. So thank you very much, Brian, for that. CVV, this is a new stock I have a starter position in. I know many people in our community have a starter position in that. We picked it up a few days ago. It's been on a massive move. This is a potentially EV-related stock which maybe have shades of error. It may have shades of error. Now, we are not yet endorsing this as a VIP pick. Sanjay, who presented it, doesn't even have a position yet, but we are starting the collaboration process. Very, very intriguing. We have a CVV research group. Earnings are Monday after the close. We're looking to get management to present to our community, but this is something I was really intrigued by the presentation last night, and it might step up my own research on CVV to see if there's an opportunity here. Probably not going to chase it in this market environment, especially after that first red candle after a few green ones and a very high RSI, but this is something to watch closely. All right, a few other ones. CHWA, not working out for us, really. This was a D-SPAC. We said, all right, let's try a D-SPAC. This was someone in a room mentioned the name, and I'm losing money on it right now. I don't know who else may be in it, but this was supposed to be a low float D-SPAC, 280,000 shares. Now they're finally D-SPACing tomorrow. Tomorrow morning it will trade under PET, but it turns out the float will not be 280,000. It'll be 3 million because there are some 2.8 million shares or so. They made a different arrangement with one of the investors, but that investor is effectively, their shares are going to be locked up at prices under $10.30. I can't get into the details of it. So this is not what I wanted it to be, but I think that there's a good chance tomorrow when it trades under PET, we can get a quick move to a 10 handle, and that's when I'll exit. I think my price average is probably 1040, 1050, so I may take a small loss on this in that scenario, and hopefully it's not going to be worse than that. Hopefully I'll get a get out of jail free card on that since that trade didn't work out. But we'll see what happens tomorrow with PET. GOEV had earnings last night. I listened to the conference call. These guys put on a show. Man, if this was still an environment where we weren't concerned about interest rates and all these money-losing companies are still flying, then GOEV would be rallying off that conference call. Things are going in the right direction for them. Their revenues are growing. They got that Walmart contract. They know how to put on a show. They're great marketers. They're great speakers. They're very cognizant of the fact that they have to raise a ton of money. They have lots of non-dilutive capital set up. There's also some dilutive capital. So it was an excellent conference call. But I dropped the ball here because I forgot. I did see it last week, but I forgot they had earnings last night. If I knew they had earnings last night, I would have sold this yesterday. Now I've had a couple opportunities to sell in the high 390s or even 4 yesterday, and I missed it. This is barely hanging on to the 20-day MA. And why would have I sold it before earnings? Because they're losing money. But the thing is, a lot of retail, they don't know that, and they react negatively. They expect, like, they see that Walmart order like a few weeks ago, and I'm telling you, like 90% of retail thinks that translates into profitability 3 weeks later. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's true. That's what they think. So when they see the headline that they're still losing money, it sells off. It's just such an obvious play. And if I had it on my radar that earnings was last night, I would have sold this pop. And nonetheless, it's holding on to that 20 DMA, and most investors knew that this earnings report was not going to be good. Most investors already knew that, so I'm hoping it's going to hold on to the 20 DMA. There's a difference between most investors and the froth of retail investors that's causing that move up yesterday, right? This is caused by an incremental froth of users who are, frenetically excited and doing that earnings anticipation, and that's what moves it to 4+. Right? But that's not necessarily what's causing it to hold the 20 DMA. Hopefully that's being caused by more long-term holders and fundamental investors. So I'm hoping that this 20 DMA is going to hold, and I'll get another chance to sell it in the 390s for us. We'll see what happens, but I definitely dropped the ball on this because this is not even a long-term and fundamental investment for me. This was always just a trade at the 20 DMA. So we'll see what happens. May have screwed up there. All right. XXII on our radar from Paul. They had earnings this morning, and I was intrigued. They have a conference call at 10 a.m. I might listen to it. It looked really good, the earnings, but I don't know the company well enough to know if there's any positive qualitative beats or quantitative beats in that earnings release. And I don't think, here we go. Yes, there is an estimate. So EPS was in line, and sales 14.5 beat 10.7. So that's good. A quantitative beat based on analyst expectations. Qualitatively, the PR read really well. I'm actually making good money on this because I've been aggressively selling $2 call options and $2 puts as well on both sides. I'm playing the volatility here, and it's been working out. So I'm actually in a profit on this one. So I took that opportunity. I said, I'm in a profit. I like this report. I added a little bit more at 195, but this deserves more research, and maybe we'll round up with Polo. Maybe we'll listen to the conference call at 10 to find out more about XXII. All right, we got to finish this up because I'm running late. Rewalk, I don't have a position, but just want to note they did have earnings this morning. Was it this morning or last night? I think it was this morning, yes. And they missed revenue, same old story. But guess what? These guys have like $1.25 in net cash. It's like maybe $1.28 in cash and 3 cents debt, something like that. So it's an EV negative stock. And today in the press release, they said they are beginning the process of buying back shares. There was a whole process, board approval. Then in Israel, a court needs to approve it too to do buybacks. They got the court approval in July, and it's now August. And in the press release, they said they're starting the process to buy back shares. I don't have a position, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does well. And I know it's on Rex's radar. Someone posted about it the other day that he liked the technicals on this. So I'm not sure if I'm going to play this. But I just wanted to point out for those of you who are. Kodak has been on a tear. Earnings are this afternoon. I'm probably going to take some off the table going to earnings. VTSI, I want to point out, Q1 earnings are Thursday after the close. No conference call. Q2 earnings is, I believe, next Thursday after the call with a conference call. Sounds crazy. If you've been following it, you know the story. Look, the other day I said I think it's going to bounce off the 50-20 DMA. It absolutely did. Look at that, how it looks like a physical floor, these lines. That's unbelievable on VTSI. So awaiting earnings on Thursday, and we'll see what happens there. MOGO also has earnings tomorrow. I don't follow this closely, but nice move yesterday. I know there's a few members of our community who follow MOGO. Up above the 50 DMA, 2050 bullish cross looks like it's coming. And people are expecting, those close to the story are expecting some good news with the launch of their app, a full production launch of their app. And it's probably highly shorted. No, only 1.89%. I'm wrong on that. But in any way, this looks like an earnings anticipation move. I don't have an opinion on it myself, but we are monitoring it. And FCEL we're monitoring, and plug from yesterday's Inflation Reduction Act stocks. Oh, LICF. I got to monitor. Oh, look at that nice close. I bought a bunch of LICF yesterday. Those are all those Inflation Reduction Act plays for green energy. And last thing I want to know is DNN upping their bid for UEX. And you can see when it looked like their bid was not accepted and there was a better offer from UEC, the stock had a relief rally. Usually the acquirer here gets hit hard. And now you can see it's pulling back. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to 116 again right off the open because they're back in the bidding war. So there's a bidding war for uranium. So I just mentioned that in terms of sentiment tailwinds for uranium may be increasing to the positive side because of this bidding war for UEX. And that's all I have for you today. Let's see if there's anything that hit our newsfeed in the last few minutes. There's not. I'm waiting for Drio earnings. I'm pretty disappointed. Seems late to me. Geo earnings really should be no later than August 5th and other things. So we got to wait to find out when Drio earnings are. But that's a comprehensive look at what's going on today. Risk off, take some profits. You don't know what's happening with CPI tomorrow. Oxy, though, might have tailwinds today. SIGA might have tailwinds today. Clearfield, I'm going to be hopefully selling some today. Air, interesting what's going on. We'll see. Took some off the table. I'll look for a reentry at some point. And that's about it, guys. Good luck. Thanks for joining us.